We are in a program called Adobe Dimensions, and it's free for anybody who has an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, and it could even be free if you don't have one. I'm not 100% sure. Adobe can change that rule at any time, but it's a great way to create mock-ups and to work in a 3D environment and kind of see how your package design looks in real life. If you don't have Adobe Dimensions, some people don't have a computer that has enough RAM or memory to run Adobe Dimensions. If that's the case, you can head on over to graphicburger.com or anywhere that has a Photoshop mockup where you can do the same thing that we're doing right now, but using a Photoshop mockup instead. That is okay. But right now we're going to use Adobe Dimensions for this class. If you've taken my graphic design mastery class where we kind of go over something similar, we do a whole branding project together, we create a lotion bottle design, we do the same thing in that class that we're going to do here. So we're going to go ahead and create a new document. And here's kind of what it looks like. I'm not going to go over all the basics of Adobe Dimensions, but I'll kind of get you started. Here's kind of some free assets that come with Adobe Dimensions. We're going to use the one right here. You can do cans, lotions, coffee cups. It's great if you want to apply a lot of your designs, flat designs in Illustrator and make them a reality. So we are going to use the food pouch. That's kind of how I designed this, how I got inspired for this cookie bag. Is this particular 3D model that comes in Adobe Dimensions. So I'm just going to drag it over to the environment, and here it is. So this is where it can get a little bit hard to learn like how to position and turn it. But mostly the controls down here are going to be able to control the camera view, and the ones up here actually rotate the product. So the select and rotate tool, we're going to go ahead and select that. It's going to give us 3 different arenas to kind of rotate this on an X, a Y, and a Z axes. And we're just going to turn that over right here. And that's actually positioned really good already. If it was not positioned really good, this is kind of your camera angles, how you can pan the camera in the view. You can click on this and zoom in and out, and then you can zoom down and kind of zoom in on it. And this will rotate the product. So great. So now we're ready to apply our flat JPEG image. We're going to go to Adobe Illustrator right here, and I'm going to export this as just a simple JPEG. So I'm going to go to File, Export, Export As. I'm going to click on Use Artboards. That's very important because it's going to export all sorts of things around your artboards if you don't click on that. And we're just going to do a simple JPEG. It's going to export that. We want to have it nice, high resolution, if possible. I'm going to go ahead and replace that. I think I already did this once before. So now we're going to apply it on the bag itself. So we're going to go over here to Food Pouch. So this is over here in your scene. You have Environment, Camera, and Food Pouch. We want to apply the graphic on the food pouch itself. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this little arrow, and it's going to be able to go into a new menu. So this is the food pouch. What we want to do is we want to go down here to this area and click on Place Graphic on Model. So this is on the food pouch. And we're going to bring in the JPEG that we just loaded. So it's going to take a little while to load. So let's say we want to select it and move it around. So we have the graphic layer selected. We're going to click up over here to the Select and Move tool, and it's going to give us some dimensions. So we want to scale dimensionally. So if I just clicked without holding Shift, it kind of scales it and makes it all distorted. We don't want that. We want to click on the Move tool, click on the graphic, and we want to hold down Shift and scale. It'll scale it dimensionally. And we're just going to keep scaling until we get the right fit that goes across the entire package. It's going to be right here. There we go. We have it applied to the product. Now we have to worry about lighting and getting the lighting for this. So there's a couple things we can do. We can go to what's called Environment, and we can change a lot of the lighting. So one thing I find it has a big change is the rotation. So this will change the rotation of the lighting up here. So I'm going to click and drag, and you'll see how it rotates the lighting and the highlights around. So this is behind. Now the light is behind the package, and then the light is moving in front of the package. So what I like to do is I like to have highlights because it makes it look real, but I don't want to have the highlights cover up the type. Like right there would probably be a bad place to put your highlights. So let's shift it over to the right a little bit so we can have a little bit of the highlights there. And then we can always change the intensity, make it brighter. And you can also add sunlight as well if you want to add kind of a sunlight look. I just kind of clicked on the sunlight. So play around with these settings. It'll change the intensity. You can add cloudiness. It'll soften the shadows. You can change the height. And you can change the rotation. Okay, so you can always add a background. So we're going to scroll down in our assets panel. We're going to keep scrolling down until you get to backgrounds. Here's some backgrounds. You can always import your own. So let's go ahead and do this table one. We're just dragging a background anywhere on the background. It's going to load this table and it's going to automatically place it on here. And we can always move this product down. So we're right here in the move tool, and we're just going to click so that it fits really nicely on the table. So now how do we get this exported out? Let me actually bring this a little bit further down on the table. So let's bring it a little further down. There we go. So let's export this package design. I'm going to go to render. So I'm just clicking up here to render, and this can take a while depending on your computer. I got a pretty good computer and it still takes a while to render. So I'm going to keep it at medium. High will take forever. So I'm going to click on medium. You just type test. And I like to have both a Photoshop and a PNG exported. And I'm going to click on render. And what it's going to do is going to slowly render the 3D model. It's going to get more crisp and more crisp as it starts to render. And you're going to be able to get a Photoshop document, but also a JPEG. And you can send this to your client to have a nice polished look at your design. You can also do it on the light colored background. So you can see here how I have both of them. I rendered both of those JPEGs. And I have two different options to present to the client. And I usually don't like to do a back design until I have some kind of approval for a theme on the front, because the back theme is going to spill over to the front, or the front theme is going to spill over to the back. So I don't want to get, the client having a lot of changes to the color and then I have to go back and totally rethink the back. So I like to get kind of a front approved, and then I could start to work on the back. So this is what we have after maybe 5 to 10 minutes of rendering. We have a really nice polished piece for our portfolio, or if this was for client work, we have something we can send to our client. So now we have one more thing to do and we're done with this project. We're going to do a back layout really quickly using some sample items.